flooded?
Well, I'm in house back surrounded with water.
If they could send some assistance to us, it's not me alone. The whole of my community has been devastated by this storm.
Welcome back, One Love Jamaica family. Now I'm currently in the community of New River in Santa Cruz, St Elizabeth, and after the passage of Hurricane Melissa, you think that the fact that the hurricane hit us so hard, that would have been most communities, that would have been the only problem, even though a very catastrophic problem. But guess what, New River, they're having a serious problem now with flooding. As you can see, looking at this section of the roadway, the entire community is basically flooded, underwater. Now, some community members have said that this is not the first that this has happened, but this is one of the worst that is happening to the community. Now, if you know anything about this community, it's called the home of fish and bami, which you know is fried fish and bami, where a lot of people would come to enjoy that kind of delicacy. Big up, thank you. Now, as you can see, look now, your persons are making their way gingerly past the area because they are unable to commute properly due to the whole situation you see in the community here with flooding. Now you see the motorists now taking their time to make their way, so it's become basically almost like a one lane traffic in the area. Thank you. Now you see two gentlemen there coming from out of the floodwaters. Now a lot of persons basically have been stranded in their homes. As you can see from the drone footage, this covers miles and miles and miles of space. Goes back way back for miles, as I said. The entire width of the area is completely flooded, and I don't know what the residents are going to do or what options do they have. Some of them have. As persons, you don't necessarily want to leave your home, but in some cases persons have left their homes. And as I spoke to a resident, Miss Daly, she confirmed that there is a morgue located just behind her home, which is just over there.
Well, I'm in house back surrounded with water, and the car porch and my back step. Well, if I pure water go right back down.
And this has been since the passage of Hurricane Melissa, right?
Since the Hurricane Melissa.
I was talking to somebody earlier on. They said that this isn't the first time this is happening to the community.
Third.
This is the third time you have experienced it. Yeah. How old are you now?
52.
52 years old. So in terms of what is happening, have you seen any of the authorities come to take a look at the area?
Yeah, the fire big.
But in terms of, have you yourself gone down into the deep water?
Yeah, I go way back down.
Why?
Because no one if you see your experience, if you see how tall it is.
You have any other friends or family affected by this?
My cousin and friends. You have to say all of them is a cousin.
Yes. So all your family members have been affected?
Yeah.
And you said that in your yard now is moving in the backyard, and I see an area beside you.
Yeah, we go right back over to the infirmary.
Behind there's a morgue?
Yeah, over Bailey's funeral home.
Okay. And you know if they have removed the bodies from over there?
Yeah.
Okay.
George, his right name is George Bailey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. So what do you think the authorities can do to help? I noticed the water is getting stagnant over that part. Yeah. You want them to come and throw something in the water to prevent the mosquitoes?
Yes.
Because you don't want any diseases or anything like that?
No.
Okay. Yeah. All right, thank you very much, Miss Daly.
You're welcome.
Now if you look over this area, the water looks very much so stagnant. It's not moving or anything, so you know that you'll soon have mosquito-borne diseases. Now when speaking to Miss Daly, she also said that members of the media had come and also members of the fire brigade. Now when I took a closer look of the water, I realized that the water is actually moving very quickly in this direction, and it looks like it's going over to that piece of land that's right beside Miss Daly, which was kind of surprising to me. I didn't notice it until I got very close to the water. As you can see, the water is moving very, very, very quickly. Very much so at a very speedy rate, going in that direction. Now, for persons who are familiar, when you come to Santa Cruz from the direction of Kingston heading west, when you get to that gas station that's in front of the St Elizabeth Technical High School, you take that back road, and when you get to the end of that road, that road that is called the back road, You just continue straight ahead. When you get to the end of that road on the western side, when you're at the end of the road, you turn to your right. That is where you find this community of New River here in St Elizabeth. Just for persons in terms of if you want to get your directions correct. And you can see even with the current situation, motor vehicles are going in their numbers because it's much more easier to drive this way than to be stuck in the traffic in the middle of Santa Cruz. I also spoke with another resident. He said he built a raft, but the water body is not necessarily deep enough. He says the water reaches almost to his waist level, but whenever he puts the raft in the water, it tends to sink. So apparently it's not deep enough in a lot of the areas in order for him to use the raft effectively. So he left the raft in his home. You'd have seen him earlier walking in the water in his water boats. And he said that he has to be very careful because at his age he doesn't know what kind of diseases are trapped in this water, which possibly will make him sick. I also saw another gentleman. You'll see him in full black. They didn't want to necessarily speak on camera, but he's not Jamaican, judging by his accent. He seems to have an African accent. He's in Jamaica working, and he has a child who is stuck in one of these homes. I don't think she's there now. I think she went out with her mom earlier, but he had carried some goods, some water and some other things from Kingston for the mother, for his child. And he seemed a bit worried because he said no matter what, he just had to get here. Matter of fact, he was willing to walk in the water to go to the house. And I said to him, no, don't take that on. Somebody was at the house that you pointed to, and when I saw the gentleman come out on the veranda, I waved him, and the gentleman came and met him, and then both of them made their way. Because I say you're not very familiar with the water, so it's best you wait on someone to come this way. So people, the situation is dire. The situation is dire for these people. We can hope that the water levels go down. I'm not sure what the authorities can do about the water levels. It's just that it seems like because of all the heavy rains, and the rivers have just burst their banks and it's just flooding everywhere. And I also hear that the community of Newmarket has a similar issue. And Newmarket is when you go past middle quarters. When you're in the square middle quarters, you'd make a right turn, go up the hill, and that will carry you to Newmarket. And so that also in Content, Manchester has a similar problem right now with the waters rising. I was driving past the Lacovia area to head up to Newmarket. We are here that there's some flooding going on, similarly to what has happened out in the New River area in Santa Cruz. And I spotted somebody and I said that looked like Miss Bridget, and I stopped and realized that she was coming back out, to do some business. But more importantly, what I want to talk about, she said thanks to you, but there's something that you never saw on camera, in which she offered me a bottle of water, which I definitely needed, and she offered me some peanuts. That just shows how good Jamaicans are. Even when they don't have anything, they'll give of the little that they have. And that's the reason why we know that we are resilient people, and we will build back better, and we will come back from that. So I just wanted to share that with you.
New River is a community now surrounded by water, not just puddles but miles of it. The roads that once connected families, workplaces and daily life have disappeared beneath the flood. Many residents who stayed are now trapped inside their own community, watching the world from behind a wall of water they cannot cross. And while the physical struggle is real, the soaked floors, the lost crops, the cold nights, it's the emotional weight that's hardest to describe. People are waking up every day to uncertainty, not knowing how long the water will stay, not knowing what the future holds for the place they call home. For parents, the worry sits heavy. How do I keep my children safe? For the elderly, the helpless, can feel overwhelming. For everyone, the isolation sinks in silently. Yet, even in the middle of all of this, something powerful is happening. Neighbors are checking on each other, sharing food, sharing fire, sharing company. People are offering strength to each other in the darkness of moments. This is the heart of New River. This is the Jamaican spirit. It's important to remember, this moment is not forever. Floodwaters rise, but they also fall. Help may take time, but help is coming. And even now, people are planning how to rebuild, how to restart, how to rise again. New River may be surrounded by water, but is not defeated, because hope is still alive. In the laughter shared on a flooded street, in the hands stretched out to support one another, and in the faith that this community will see dry land, stability, and peace again. New River is holding on with courage, with love, and the strength that only people who truly know struggle can carry, and they will rise again.
Similarly to what we saw earlier in the community of New River, which is just outside of Santa, which is actually in Santa Cruz, not outside, it's in Santa Cruz, it's just on the back road. And you can see here, matter of fact, this gentleman is taking advantage of the whole situation here and is washing his car. A lot of motorists, I noticed, they are turning back. I don't know why. But General, why everybody are turning back? The road block? Down there, sir. It cut off. The water is coming from a river or what? It just coming from underground? Sinkhole. Okay. But the water look fresh though. So let us take about how far the block they were down here, sir? Which part you said the road block? About how far? No man, so how far am I have to walk from here to where I can go through the water? Okay, but I see how around this stay. It come like you better take off my sneakers, you know, everything I go wet up. Eh? Alright. And if you look right in front, you can see where there's damage to the New Market Kindergarten and Preparatory School. That's one section, and there's another section over there. Also, you'd have seen what is left because of Hurricane Melissa. Some buildings here have been damaged also. This bar over here with the Ray and Nephew branding, a Fufa nightclub, which is funny, and it seems like that was a jerk center or something like that right there. So One Love Jamaica family, this is the second time now I have go through a body of water due to the effects of Hurricane Melissa. I just want to see where the road is blocked off here in New Market. So at least this water is fresh water, and I don't have to worry about any crocodiles like I had to in Black River. So you can see there some of the damage from Hurricane Melissa here in New Market. New Market is an area that doesn't seem to have gotten the level of coverage, and you can understand due to what has happened in basically Black River, Lacovia, other areas, Luana, other areas in St Elizabeth, and then you have the devastation also in Westmoreland, Bluefields, White House, and name other areas you can name which are more severe. I think down here is blocked by trees, so the water there isn't a problem, but there are a number of trees which has blocked this area. The young man was telling me that I could go the other direction where I came from and go to the community center and see more of the issues. He said if I had a good vehicle I could drive. I told him no, I don't need to necessarily drive through the water. I can just simply fly my drone to have an overhead look. But this now I want to just come up here to actually see for myself what is causing these issues, or at least try to see what is causing these issues. So according to him, the water is coming from sinkholes, and I'm assuming that this is one of them. You can see a cow over there grazing, and there seems to be a number of these sinkholes here in the New Market community. New Market has been flooded like this before. This is not the first. This is just the most recent, and this seems to be the issue why persons are not able to drive through this area, because there's trees in the way. I don't see this as being that huge a problem, because you just simply need a few men with machetes or with chainsaws. So I don't fully understand why that has not been cleared, but I'm not criticizing anyone, because people have been, caught up and focused on the kind of damage they are facing. So I understand, but there's more water flowing over there, and there's a big pond basically has formed in this area. So I don't know if this will become now a permanent fixture, Because I can notice some fencing that goes through the water that would show me that before that area didn't have any water, and the water is now flowing almost looking like a river. So persons who may not be familiar with Newmarket and come will think that, boy, this is a natural pond, this is probably how it has always been, and on the next side would think that it's a river because the water is flowing with such force. So again, another tree in the roadway. So this section hasn't been cleared, but in the town, as we came through earlier, seemed to be very busy, and persons seem to be going about their regular activities. And right here you see another building that has also lost its entire roof. Judging by how many large tanks I see there, it may have been some kind of car wash. To be using so much water, it's very likely that that was a car wash in the area. Just looking at the design and so on tells me that. But General, this was a car wash?
Yeah, car wash, yeah.
Oh.
Recently built.
Yeah, from a city, they will drum them and so, they tank them and so, I feel say one car wash.
I just for 1 month then.
About 1 month it was built now?
No, 1 month they start working.
1 month to open? Wow, my God. That's unfortunate. All of that money they blew up now. Yes, well hopefully them can recover from it though.
Yeah.
Yes, so you hear that, family? That business was just open for just over a month, and business virtually destroyed. Now the area is flooded, so they are unable to do any kind of business whatsoever. If the area was clear, they could probably get a few things. They didn't even forget anything. They could clean up the area and just go and wash some vehicles, but we can see a helicopter. I'm not sure what it's carrying, but I'm sure it's carrying some goods to some different communities, probably some marooned areas across the western section of Jamaica.
Good afternoon, Jamaica. My name is Anne-Marie McDonald Salmon. I am from Moko District, Newmarket, PO. During this storm of Melissa, my house has been damaged. The roof is gone, and also the clothing, everything wet. The beds, no beds. Throw everything out, burn everything. I am asking Jamaica, or those who have not been affected by this storm, if they could send some assistance to us. It's not me alone. The whole of my community has been devastated by this storm. So I'm asking you kindly if you could reach out to us to lend a helping hand to us, because we surely need it during this time. Thank you. You can contact me via WhatsApp on 392-3763.
Newmarket in St Elizabeth is once again underwater. The fields, roadways, and yards that usually define the rhythm of daily life are now submerged. Many people who remained in the community are effectively surrounded, cut off from travel, cut off from access, and cut off from some of the most basic parts of normal living. What used to be a quick walk to a neighbor's gate now requires caution, planning, or even a makeshift boat. For residents, this is not the first time they have seen their community changed by floodwaters. Newmarket has had a long history with extreme flooding, going back as far as 1979, when the community was so heavily flooded that some areas were submerged for months. The floodwaters reshaped the landscape and transformed the lives and memories of everyone connected to the area. Over the years, the name Newmarket has become tied not just to a place, but to endurance. Today, many residents say the rising water brings back those echoes of the past. There is a quiet, lingering fear that the situation could get worse before it gets better. Some roads are too deep to cross. For the elderly, the sick, young children, and those who live in the core of the flooded zone, the feeling of isolation hits hardest. Inside homes, people are living with uncertainty, water creeping close to thresholds, personal items lifted up on blocks or shelves, families listening to the sound of rain, runoff, and wondering what an additional hour or day might mean. Even when the water appears still, the emotional weight is heavy. It's not just the flooding that challenges the community. It's the waiting, the not knowing, the long hours of thinking instead of doing. The emotional toll reaches beyond inconvenience. It touches fear, stress, and memory. Some residents feel trapped, not only physically but mentally, surrounded by the constant reminder of how nature can abruptly interrupt life. The community's routines have been interrupted, school runs postponed, farm work halted, church gatherings paused, and moments of fellowship replaced with calls of caution and care. But even in this difficult moment, the people of Newmarket are not passive. Neighbors are checking on each other. Families are sharing whatever they can. Those who have access to slightly higher or safer ground are looking out for those who don't. The quiet togetherness speaks to the depth of the community here, a deep unspoken understanding that survival is shared. To watch Newmarket today is to see both vulnerability and strength at the same time. The water challenges daily life and the emotional strain is real, but the will of the people to endure, to support one another, and to protect their sense of identity remains steady. The floodwaters will eventually recede, as they have in the past, and when they do, Newmarket will face the familiar but powerful task of rebuilding. The community has done it before, not out of ease, but out of necessity, courage, and commitment to home. That same resilience lives in the hearts of the residents now. Newmarket stands today in hardship, but not defeated. The story continues, shaped by endurance, memory, and the quiet strength of our people holding on together. In the parish of St Elizabeth, the communities of Newmarket and New River are facing difficult days. Heavy flooding has surrounded both areas, turning familiar roads into waterways and leaving many residents isolated. Homes, farms, and daily routines have been disrupted. Families are adjusting to limited access, and simple tasks now require patience, planning, and strength. For many, the emotional strain is just as real as the physical challenge. The uncertainty, the waiting, the memories of past floods, and the worry for loved ones weigh heavily on the mind and heart. Yet in both communities, one thing remains constant: the people. Neighbors continue to check on each other. Families share what little they have, and even in the middle of the floodwater, there is compassion, unity, and courage. These waters will not last forever. Newmarket and New River have risen before, and they will rise again. Hope is still alive.